I'm Tamika D. Mallory.
And it's your boy Mysonne, the General.
We are your host of TMI.
Tamika and Mysonne's information, truth, motivation, and inspiration.
New name, new energy, but
same old us.
What's going on, Mysonne Lennon?
I am blessed, black, and highly favored.
This is true.
In this holiday season, just trying to do the holidays.
I'm on holiday. I'm in a, unfortunately, from last week to this week, a lot has not changed. We still have a friend who's deceased that I wish could come back, but he probably will never. I mean, he won't. It's sad. Yeah. Kevin, just,
yeah.
My heart is just.
Big Kev, man.
So just, I can't even. Anyway, and then our other brother, we pray for him. I haven't seen his family write his name on socials or anything. So I think out of respect for them, until they're prepared to talk about his situation, that we, keep his identity under wraps.
Well, he's in our prayers.
Yeah,
definitely.
We got another friend who's really in trouble. And the holidays in general is pretty hard for a lot of people. I mean, I am blessed that I still have both my parents. I have a healthy, thriving granddaughter, and my child is here. And for the most part, the people who are very, very close to me, they around, right? Even if people are struggling with a little bit of this, a little bit of that, they're around. And so I don't suffer with some of the things that I hear from friends. A lot of friends, this is a really, really rough time for them. Moms that really celebrated Christmas. I know your mother really was into Christmas and holidays and all of that. And you have other people who have lost a child. And I spend a great deal of my Christmas morning when I wake up sending text messages to all the mothers who I've worked with that I know, no matter what face they put on, their child being lost either to gun violence or police violence or overdose. That's a new world that I'm now being introduced to, where so many people have lost their children to overdoses. And, oh, man, it's just seizures. It's a lot of pain out there. So I think, like we said last week, it's always important for us to mention and to acknowledge what folks are going through that in many ways are different from, the other experience, because it's a joyous time. It's the most wonderful time of the year, for sure.
It is. And like you said, it's definitely hard when your parents are not here. Like you said, my mother was very into the holidays. You'll go to her house now, her tree will be decorated. She'll have the hallway decorated inside the building. And she was just really into holidays. So, this is always a tough time for me. But, I'm just pushing through. These kids, as long as the kids are smiling, that's all that matters. You broke at the end of the day. As long as you can, I can live off bread and water, man. If I got to, but the kids is happy, so.
No adult Christmas gifts this year. I decided I'm just not doing it. Our friends and their health situations really has knocked me into a place of self-reflection, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, for the most part, none of these holidays are really for us anyway. You know what I'm saying? Especially as black people, like, I don't really see, especially in the financial time that we're in.
Yeah.
A lot of people just don't have the finances,
They don't.
And I think, if we stop putting so much pressure on ourselves to be able to financially do things and gifts, and start putting that money and investing it in something that's going to mature, and is going to appreciate over time, then it makes more sense. I don't want to take that away from kids, because I grew up when Christmas is one of the gifting here and there. But I think for adults, I think we need to be figuring out how do we save money and how do we make money and build.
Save and make. I agree. 100%. I agree. So my thought of the day today sort of is in line with this, because, I had this plan for the last week and a half to do a bunch of things, to go and, get my little secret Santas and my gifts over here and all the stuff that I'm used to doing. And then Kevin, our driver, confidant, our friend, died. Oh, Kevin, Lord, please. It's so hard. And then also our other friend got really, 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 really sick and is still, even though it's been a week and a half, clinging for life. And I just stopped. I stopped everything that I would generally be doing at this time in the store, calling my mother for this person's size and this and that. And I'm still not as big on Christmas and buying gifts, because after we decided to stop shopping during the holidays, with all the police shootings and corporate greed and all the things, I cut down. But I like to make sure my parents and, my granddaughter last year and a couple little things. So I'm like, and I'm not a person that gives people junk. So I'm looking and doing all this stuff. And this year, because of these situations that we've been dealing with, I just stopped. And I was laying down. I laid down a whole day, an entire day. And I got up finally and said, I might not go out to buy gifts and to do the merry thing, but I can at least work on addressing some of the things that's in my house that do not need to be there anymore. So my thought of the day today is get rid of it. It doesn't fit. It does not fit you. I'm taking jackets that are now, I have bins of clothes that I have in different places. I try that stuff on. The arms don't go. You never going back to that size. These jackets it's not just about being healthy or not. Yes, I'm bigger than I want to be. I'm 153 or 150, almost 155. I want to be 140. So I know what I need to do to be around that weight, even 135. I remember a time when I was trying to gain weight. If I go down to 135, it's okay. I'll take it. 130 is fine, because it's really hard at this age to get the weight off of you. But I realized that some of that stuff, I'm holding on to it. I don't know why. You never going to 98 pounds, 110 pounds, 120
130
pounds.
though? You think
I would go to 130.
You can get to 130? You think you can put it?
I mean, Fat Joe said
you eat about Ozempic.
Nah,
because you eat about 4 meals a meal.
I don't eat anyway, my son.
I'm just being honest.
Whatever.
About 4 meals a meal.
What
Not
I'm
4 meals
saying.
a day. 4 meals a meal. Like you go and order 4 meals.
But I haven't been doing that. And
You haven't?
just don't know, because you not sitting down eating dinner with me at the restaurant every day. So you don't know. I don't be buying 4 meals in a day anymore, because I just
No,
don't
not
do
a
it
day.
no more. I mean, in a meal. I don't do it.
4 meals a meal. I want you to be clear. I'm not saying a day, because that just be an extra meal. 4 meals a meal.
The point is,
Okay.
I know what I need to do to lose weight. I know what I need to do, right? I know what to cut. I know how to work out. I know exactly what to do. But I also understand that a portion of the things that I'm holding on to, and I'm talking about years back of clothes.
You just can't fit it.
I'm never going to fit them.
Never.
The structure of my body, even from my workout, I'm heavy in Pilates. My body is not even the same body that I used to have. So why do you have a jacket, a suit jacket from when you was 32 years old and you 44? Sis, let it go. It's over. And it made me think about that there are people, places, and things that just don't fit. And it's just time to let them go. And I know it hurts us to part with things. Like, I have memories in this one blue suit jacket that's a badass Ralph Lauren. I thought I was so cool when I first got this Ralph Lauren jacket. That was like the other than St. John, which, by the way, I got a bunch of St. John stuff, which is the black, fabulous black bourgeoisie clothes, okay? I have a bunch of it. Can't wear it, but I'm not giving it away. I just can't do it. I'm not ready. It's just too expensive. First of all, I ain't there yet. But to get you a polo jacket, you know what I'm saying, with the polo logo on it and the whole thing, that was a big deal for a young professional woman coming up, getting up, showing up at meetings and corporate spaces and other places, having that jacket with my jeans or my blue pants or skirt or whatever. Girl, it doesn't fit you anymore. Let it go.
I think you better let it go.
Let it go. So I hope that for the new year, even leading into the new year, that as people are listening today, it's people, places, things, in your life and in your household that does not fit. And you busy trying to stuff things in closets and push things under beds and make people stay around and still keep a little thing a little bit with them, keep your feet in a little bit. Let it go. It does not fit. Let it go.
It don't fit. You must have quit.
Child, anyway.
If it don't fit, you must have quit.
That is a different...
It's must have quit. No, see, you don't even get it as an entendre. If it don't fit, you must acquit. Just quit. See, acquit. Acquit.
Okay.
You got to quit. If it don't fit it, you got to quit it. You see, you get
Whatever.
it? I'm just trying to tell you, this is when you a lyricist. I'm trying to put you on. That's a bar.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ.
Moving right along. The TMI today, you know, we don't just do a TMI all the time. We really look for the good ones.
Good one.
It's a lot of TMIs out here, to tell you the truth. A whole lot.
This is a good one.
It's been a
right
lot.
here,
But this one
this is
is
funny
particularly hilarious. It is the exchange between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Now, first of all, people will say, well, what exchange? Because I didn't see them go back and forth. There you go, making up stuff. No. It's what Elon Musk did first. That is the first part of this situation.
Of the exchange.
So Elon Musk tweets out, or whatever he has, I don't know, Twitter, I don't know,
Tweeter.
whatever he has, it's child, whatever he has.
Tweeter.
He put out a message that said, no bills should be passed until the change of power. So he wants the Republicans to stall everything that's happening until the change of power, which is when Trump takes office on January 20th, right? Now, they didn't do it. They didn't listen because they were in a stall last week. But by the time I think the end of the week came, they were able to get some things, a budget moved, and they moved on, and the government did not shut down. Yeah. Right. But he was trying to encourage the shutdown and to stop everything, all progress, all bills. I don't even know if they're progressive, but whatever. And then all of these memes were out there. It was like 20 memes where they all are like, Trump is this little person sitting in a chair next to the desk, and Elon Musk is big and he's behind the chair, which is to say that he's the president, that Elon Musk is the president, and Trump is just like a little sideshow. Yeah. And there were other memes and other comments being made and pieces being written on Elon Musk and his influence in the administration, right? So then Trump, you can always leave it to a little person to go. They gotta go. He couldn't take it. So he wrote this whole long thing on his stuff, which is Truth. See, I know that. On truth.com or whatever that is. And he says, I'm the president-elect and I'm going to be president. And Elon Musk, thank you for your time and thank you for whatever you did. You spent a lot of money on the election, but I'm the president. I'm in charge. Other words, go somewhere and sit down.
Sit down.
So the TMI today is that this is about to be a shit show. Elon Musk is going to feel that he is in a position of power because you have ingratiated him. This is what happens. This is what happens. When you give people...
When you spend billions... When you spend damn near $1 billion to support somebody, $250 million to support somebody, and then you give him a position in the White House within the staff, then I
don't even know if his position is in the White House. It might be in the executive chambers, which is across the street. Okay. So I'm not even sure, but it would be in the administration.
In the administration. Mm-hmm. And if you give him that level of power, and you give that to a person who's already a narcissist, you give that to a person who is pretty much the richest man in the world and controls everything and everybody around him, and then you think that you're going to control him when you have less than him, it's just not really common sense because he's never let nobody control him, right? So I don't know how you think all of a sudden you're going to let him control. He was playing chess. He utilized his money and his relationships, his platform, all the things to put you in a position because he felt he can control you.
Right.
So now you think it's going to change because you're the president. And his mind is, I'm the reason you're the president. Like you wasn't going to win this without me. You better stop playing. Yeah. And now I'm going to call the shots. like I've been doing. Like I was telling you, you listened to me to get to the presidency. Now you want me to fall back. No, it don't work like that.
It doesn't work like that.
It don't work like that.
That's actually, that'll get you hurt in some
I'm
places.
telling you.
It really will. But you know what? I said, guard, get the locks, close the gates. They out the asylum, all of them, because that's what's about to happen. It's going to be a shit show. And you know what? I'm back to what you said the other day. You kind of got me together, and you didn't even know it. You was just talking. You know how sometimes we be talking to each other? I know it happens with Linda and me all the time. I'm on the phone with her, and I bet you Angelo does it, because I call him, and I just be talking about everything. I'm pissed about this. You did this to me. My son, I be telling on everybody. My son didn't listen. He didn't do it, and y'all both, I'm trying to tell y'all, do this, and that. And I know that man halfway here, half of what I'm saying. And Linda and I do it to each other all the time. We just go, getting it all out. And every now and then the other person go, girl, what? The other day you was just talking, and I'm just like halfway listening to what you went from stocks to something else.
Trying to put you up on game.
You went to like 5 things, and I'm just listening to you. And then you said, and I think Charlamagne said this too, that I don't want to see Donald Trump fail, because we are the citizens. We will be impacted.
I want y'all to prove me wrong.
That's what you said.
Please prove me wrong.
And that got me together. I said, you're right.
Yeah, like if he proved me
right.
wrong, I'll be the happiest person. Listen, I don't want to see America implode. I don't want to live in a place where everybody is damn near destitute in a third world country. But when I'm looking at the Donald Trump, the mind state, and the people around him, I don't see how it went. So I want y'all to prove me wrong. I want to sit down and say, damn, you know what? I was 100% wrong, and we doing good. Everything is good here. That's what I want. I don't see it though. And then sometimes you could be wrong. It's nothing wrong with me being wrong. If I'm wrong, if Donald Trump does all the shit that y'all people, that the Trump cult, if he do what y'all said, then listen, I'm gonna do nothing but say, yo, y'all was right, because I don't have a problem with being wrong. But if he don't, then I'm gonna say, because this is gonna be a lesson. Because sometimes you just pay you when you start doing your math, the math that I'm doing, this ain't mathing.
Right. We talked about this before.
Yeah, it's just like it ain't math.
I don't see it, but
hey, if it's right, then y'all just smarter than me, and I can be wrong. And I'm gonna start paying attention to the people that's smart, the people that predicted that Trump was gonna do this and it's gonna change the world and it's gonna be positive and we're gonna live happily ever after. If that happens, I'm gonna take y'all advice and I'm gonna follow what y'all say for now. But if not, I'm gonna say I told you so. I'm definitely gonna say I told you so now.
Why we might not need to? Well, but see, the problem is, even with the "I told you so," is that we're all going to be living through the suffering. You might not have time.
But the thing is, I'm gonna be preparing. I'm preparing for it. Like I'm boarding up the house. It's just like Noah's Ark, and I look out there and see Noah, and y'all like, this man. No, I know the Ark. I'm going with Noah. I'm boarding shit up. I'm making me my own little Ark. I'm gonna help him build it because I believe that what he's saying is right. Y'all don't think that we need an Ark. I'm over here building the Ark. Now, if we don't need the Ark, then I just got a big-ass boat that's outside that's going to be something that y'all can look at. But if in the case that I'm right and we need the Ark, I got me a room and everything in there because I done helped build the shit.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, you'll see.
But, okay. We should get to our guest.
Yes, we should. So today we are joined by friends and family, as we always say.
Family.
Two brothers that I respect. Just watching them do this work that we call, intervention work, gun violence prevention work. And these are two brothers that really do this work, and just watching them, just actually being with them in their community, which is a very high-risk community, and just understanding their stories. These two brothers I actually respect. And we're joined by Khalil Tut, a.k.a. Tut, and Shadi Dukes, a.k.a. 8 the Great. Yes, and they are the founding members and the presidents of New Direction.
New Direction.
And it's a community-based, nonviolence intervention organization based inside of Newark, New Jersey. They're both active gang members, but the way they approach gang life is different. You know, these are the big homies that are giving you the right direction and telling you the real things to do. These is the real big homies. So I'm happy to be joined by the real big homies today.
Absolutely, bro. Appreciate you having us, man. It's an honor.
Happy to be here.
Hey, you like 10 years old talking about big homie. Like, how, you know.
Because we from a community and a culture that don't define leadership by age. You know what I'm saying? We define leadership by actions.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah. No,
actions.
you have children and everything.
Yes,
so you're
ma'am.
a whole grown up. But
Yes,
when I
ma'am.
see you, I always admire your youth.
Yes.
You know, and I think that probably helps to attract some of the younger people to you to know that you're not out here like wilding out and doing all of that. So it's cool. It's good to see y'all. Thanks for coming to TMI.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here, man.
It's good to have you. So explain to us what New Direction is and how did it come into be?
So New Direction, this is New Direction, something I created for the gang culture when I came home. You know, just to show my homies, you know, something different. You know, I've been through, you know, some significant, you know, things in the city. You know, been involved in some high-profile situations. Since the game culture came over, I was one of the ones that really was like putting on for it because I believed in it. And you know, my big homie, he had brought me home. He had went to jail real early, and before the gang stuff really kind of like took off, he kind of left it on me to like kind of like be him. But I wasn't ready for it because I was like young, and I thought, hey, you know, being the game, and we got to put on and you know hurt people and you know get respect in the hood. You know what I'm saying? I ain't realized like what the gangs really was created for until I went to prison and really got the knowledge and information, you know, from him and other big homies who was already down serving time, life sentences, and they became conscious behind the wall. And, you know, that conscious stuff don't make it to the streets unless you got a conscious soldier out there pushing the line. You know what I mean? But I wasn't that yet. I wasn't ready for that yet. I had to go through some things to get there, you know. So when I went to prison, you know, I kind of like, you know, got with them, seeing bros, you know, me serving life sentences, not never coming home with the look of defeat on their face. And I followed these guys here. So, you know, and I asked the big homies, like, what's the plan for us getting out of here? Ain't nobody had one. It's like, you know, ain't nobody force you to do what you do. You know what come with this, and you know me. But a lot of us didn't. We thought we was just with the bros moving around. We ain't never knew jail was gonna come with this, or life in prison, or death. Y'all ain't tell us that. You know what I'm saying? We had to learn that the hard way. So, you know, me going through my struggles, having to learn the hard way, and seeing they ain't had no answers for me. I had to step up and become my own leader and find some answers. You know, and you know that's like the birth of New Direction, because it's basically me going in a different direction than the homies. And you know, when you said we active game, it was like we couldn't like drop our flags and do this, because if we dropped our flags and did it, we ain't gonna be able to reach them. Because it's like, y'all ain't with us no more, y'all on this. So we had to stay active in it to just be able to change it from within, you know what I mean? So that, you know what I mean, we could get people to believe in it. And there's a risk, you know what I mean? Because, you know, you trying to challenge the culture, you trying to challenge the trenches, like, who is you? To challenge the bloods, you know what I mean? You ain't the biggest blood out here, you know? But, you know, like what Bro said, it ain't about your size and your stature, it's your mind, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm thinking bigger than the big homies and it's working for us, you know, then I'm going to become the biggest one. I'm going to hold it the right way, and I'm going to keep pushing it in the right direction and saving some of these young bros that's out here in the streets that was kind of like misguided, and we left some bad stuff behind for them to hold on to that wasn't right. So when I came out of my situation, and God blessed me with, you know, having another opportunity to see freedom again.
How long were you incarcerated?
I did 15 straight. So I had 30, and I had gave 10 back through the grace of God on the pill, and they gave me 20 to 13. I had to do the 15 to max it out, and I came out. I went in when I was like 20, 21 young. So that 15 years was something that I kind of needed. I didn't want it, but, you know, it helped me, you know, become conscious. Because like I said, I ran into a lot of the bros behind it, like the BLA dudes. And I realized what political prisoners was and what revolutionary socialism and things like that we didn't know. They started giving me them books to read, them George Jackson books, and, you know, the audacity of Obama, like a lot of stuff they was giving. They was making us read that. And, you know, I learned a lot, you know what I mean, reading those books. And it made me had a whole different perception on what we could be doing as a gang. Like, we came together and started, you know, doing things the right way, like how powerful we'd be, you know what I mean? And we just came out and put it in motion.
So you went to jail when you was 21, and you did 15 years straight.
Right.
Y'all's old.
Word.
But time has really stood still.
Right.
Because I'm sure that people looking at you today, you would never know that y'all have that many years, you know, behind you of life that you've done, you know?
Right.
Wow. I mean, it's impressive, the work that the two of you do. And, you know, I, even longer than my son, have been unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you want to call it, have been sort of like a mentor to many younger grassroots organizers that are coming up, some coming out of prison, some just coming, out of college, different things. And I know the difference between authentic and not, because I've watched it all, all of it. We were just talking about people be nutty, people be having serious mental health issues. People, and when I say nutty, I'm not making light of mental health, but because some of them, they don't even have mental health. They just haters and angry, just mad at everybody.
Traumatized.
Yeah, just messy. That's a good word for it. And when I look at the two of you, I know that there's something different there. Like, you guys you're very authentic, and I was drawn to your work and what you do. And obviously the same applies to Angelo, who's not here with us today, and then my son. And so why this? Why not just come home and say, okay, I can go get a job or, work with my family? Because some days the money ain't coming into the organization. It's hard to keep the doors open, hard to keep the bills paid. Why this and new direction? What was the reason for that, Abe? That you wanted to join with what he was doing.
Right. Because we had similar outcomes but different journeys, right? And although I didn't have an extensive stint in jail like he did, I've had experience, with going downstate and seeing what that was like. And the biggest thing that it did for me is it changed my perception of the world, right? Because I seen the world on a smaller scale. I seen how, when a Spanish guy come to the unit, the rest of his community don't have to know him from a can of paint, but they would embrace him.
Wow.
Right? They'd give him something to eat. He'd have a laundryman, XYZ. A Caucasian guy comes, same thing. But as soon as myself or another black person come to the unit, even though we the majority, we all start sniffing them out, right? Like, where he from, right? We just unpack each other to the point where we'll find the smallest thing to disassociate ourselves with each other. And it bothered me, right? And then even when we had things like, on Tuesdays, right? Like, we get to watch VH1, but all the other 6 days they'd take VH1 off the TV. So I just started seeing like a illusion of freedom, right? Like, you free to change the channel to whatever you want, but they control the program that came to your television. And things like that always bothered, like it started bothering me, in the wrong way.
Why do you think that is? Why VH1?
Because we wanted to watch Love and Hip Hop, right? So we was the majority, so the majority got the rule. So we was able to lobby for us to be able to watch for these programs on these certain days, right? But it was really just a way to just spoon feed and keep everybody calm. All right, boom, I give you a dose of happiness, right? And y'all just conform. And I always had I was always taught to say what I mean and mean what I say, right? I was always taught how to speak up for myself. And that was one of the things that was bothering me. So, I just seen an illusion of power, right? And it was the same thing for when I was inside the neighborhood. Like, all right, if we blood and we this and we quote unquote run our neighborhood, why every time law enforcement pull up, we running? Or if they could pull up and they could give us any reason, there wasn't no way for us to hold us accountable. So when I came home, I just wanted to change the narrative of who I was and who people said that we are. And I just I started doing small things for my community, and then it led to me becoming a district leader, right? Because I was approached by some guys who was district leaders, and they was like, they took a liking to me and how I was able to, command my neighborhood in a positive outlook. And then they talked to me about becoming a district leader. And so long story short, I ran, then I actually won. So now when law enforcement pulled up in the neighborhood, they had to speak to Shadi Dukes and tell us who made the call and why are you out here, right? Like, how can we get in front of this without somebody being arrested? And, so I started growing into that. And then, just growing out into it more, I started, in 2019, I did a podcast, right? Just on my own. I just wanted to push the work that we was doing even more further. because I was learning more about it. So, you know, I'm a person that just take control of things. So I can't delegate things. So I just did it upon myself. I did it in my grandmother's basement. And upon touch arrival back home, he did a video, right? And he sent the message out to the community, to the culture. And he spoke the same language that I was speaking. And I always knew of him, but growing up, he was from a different age bracket than myself, right? So me and my friends, we always looked up and we admired Chuck, but for the wrong reasons, right? Because of the incident that took place at the school, but more so how he delegated himself out in the streets. So he set a standard for guys in the street to uphold, right? Like, and we always wanted to be like Chuck growing up, but we was just wanted to be like him in the wrong way. So we did the podcast, and for the first time he came and he spoke his true story to the culture, right? And we did it together because, he didn't have to know me personally. He knew we represented the same purpose, right? And it was times where he was even offered money to go on podcasts and share the story, but he chose to come sit down with me and do it. And from that day along, like, he didn't have to ask me to join him in the old direction. So why would he have to ask me to join him in the new direction? The end goal makes sense. So, you know, that's why we sitting here today.
I love that, because it's similar to my story, right? Just being incarcerated and seeing the reality of what we dealing with,
right?
And then saying and choosing that I'm gonna do something different,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And utilizing the power, the recognition, all of the notoriety that you have, and saying I'm gonna utilize that something for powerful. Like you was looking up to him for the negative thing, just like when I came home with people, Mysonne, you know, I know he put this in, and I came home and I was just like, nah, they stripping us down in the cells in jail. And you can't, they stripping, you're not even a man in jail. And they taught us that when we went there, that made us more something. And they literally taking our manhood from us. So I wouldn't be who I am if I lead you to that destruction, right? They killing, I'm watching young boys coming to jail with 40 and 50 years at 17 and 16, and it's never coming home. I'm seeing the OGs that I look up to with 100 years in jail telling me I need to go home and tell them something different.
That's right.
So you hold on to that, you know, and when you really a man of honor, that's what you bring out. So just watching y'all, it reminded me of so much of myself, and just seeing y'all connect the same way that y'all did, and really live that. But what's one of the biggest challenges that you feel like you face right now, both of y'all? You can start.
Yeah, so I'm gonna ask the other question with her too. What Tamika asked about a sustaining new direction with like resources and stuff like that. So when we first started New Direction, like how you explained, like I already had influence in the gang culture coming home, like little bros that looked up to me from the story that happened at the school. So, you know, I already had like created a legacy, you know, in the culture. So it was easy for me to come on like, all right, what's bro playing? Because every time, you know, we came from prison, we get to home, we have meetings, we go to the park, but our meetings was all about like, you know, negative stuff. So everybody looking for my direction when we come home, cause like big bro back home, a lot of stuff gonna change. We hear how he moving in prison, cause I was already starting New Direction when I was in prison. We was calling like New Culture. We was having little meetings on the units. Every jail we went to where they had like gang issues. Once I got in the building, administration run down on me, cause they know I got the influence. They know I got this high risk thing following me, cause we been heard about high risk in there before we even got out here. So yeah, so they was like, I'm high risk everywhere I go because of my case. So any jail I go to, they already alert and know I'm coming in, and I got influence with the gang. So certain big homies come in certain prisons, it'll spike up the violence, because certain big homies will come in with a different approach. Like, yo, we ain't on this, we ain't over there with them, we ain't doing that. But I came in with like everybody unity, already like cleansed from the MCU, Management Control Unit, where they had me at, where I met all them like BLA dudes and all the big homies. They was isolating them in a unit called Management Control Unit. And they called us like Title 30 inmates. So if you was a gang member, you was STG, and you was a threat to the population of the prison because of your influence and officers. So they was isolating us in these units, but they was putting us all together in one unit, locking us down, giving us time to build with each other and figure this thing out. So anybody that made it out of that unit came out with a certain level of consciousness, knowing what we was up against the system. So I came out of there and just started educating every population I went to. but we wasn't violent. We were just getting them more right. We moving militant. We coming out the mess all together. We eating together. And sometimes they were shipping me out because they didn't know what I was doing it for.
They see the militant.
Right, because they thinking I'm just doing it to try to like take over the jail or something. But I'm really doing it to keep my brothers focused so they could get home to their families. And I'm letting the bros know that and they appreciate it. And I ain't got them popping on this, no popping on that. So when I seen it was working in there, what we was doing, I knew I was coming home with that same approach. Right. So me to run in the 8 and get this out there to the public, like, yo, this is what I'm on. You know, this is what I'm pushing. We started doing New Direction. It got recognized by the mayor and them. Right. Like, we ain't go to another organization to get funded and nothing. They recognized what we was doing, and they had to let us know y'all funded people for this same work. If we found out people getting funded and we really out here got the trenches calm and y'all ain't taking care of us, so they had to kind of let us know. So that's why I never been about the money with us. That was just a bonus.
That's right.
I mean, I was already set up. When I went home, I had a plan. Before I even came to the hood, I needed to have my own money because I had niggas in the streets offering me stuff. Yo, we gonna get this work. You'll do this. You'll come back outside. Y'all gotta connect for you. I'm like, nah, I ain't doing. I went in the warehouse, worked in the warehouse, getting paid $500 a week for like 6 months, and I had a plan to get my CDL. So I'm work, get my CDL. The streets calling me, yo, we got this for you. I'm like, I ain't doing none of that, bro. Because first of all, when I came home, I got a big target on me because I went to jail for police officers losing life. So now they already checking me coming home, making sure I'm not about to come out here and spark stuff up. Right. They already 10 steps ahead of me. They came to see me before I came home, like major crime task force, somebody from the federal bureau, IA from the county, and I'm thinking I got a new charge. They just trying to check the temperature on where I'm at. Like, yo, you about to get out in a couple days. There's the big light on you out in the streets. So that kind of strengthened the New Direction too. You know what I mean? If I had any other thoughts of not going in the better direction, when I seen that they came, like, look, I ain't doing nothing, bro. Cause like I'm good. I'm going down to Maryland, my family. I'm getting out of here. Like I ain't trying to come back to jail. So you know, I'm being born again. I'm just coming out of prison, so I'm coming back fresh. So I ain't coming out no gangster ready for nobody. I'm nervous. I don't know if somebody gonna knock my head off. I don't know. I've been going for a minute. I don't know if the police gonna try to take me out. So I had to get away from the hood. And then when I was working and doing the stuff that I was doing, building myself up, really realizing what credit was and all, I had money when I came back to the hood. I got CDL. So I'm making money in the truck. So we able to still get the movement moving, even looking out for people, because I always did that for my bros. My bros calling me like, you want to rob somebody? Nah, bro, you ain't got to do that. You need a couple dollars. Right. I give them $100 to calm them down or something. You know what I mean? And bro was remembering that. And as I'm saying consistent with the New Direction, they started rocking with it. Cause like, first I was bluffing, trying to get the police off of me, and like, all right, let me keep the police off and act like I'm doing this, but underneath the surface, I'm pulling buttons. I really wasn't doing that. When they was really on to me, they seen that I really wasn't doing all that.
And they fell back.
And then New Direction started expanding. Now I can stand next to mayors, stand next to other people because I'm coming with clean hands. And the PR, it took about 3 years before we got next to the mayor. Right. We was out here pushing before the mayor invited us to stand next to him and be a part of peace in the hood, because he had to believe that we really was on it. Because some people could say stuff, but underneath the surface, they still outside, because you gotta maintain a certain level of credibility in the streets, because they only respect violence.
That's a fact.
So if we coming out here like waving the white flag, hey, everybody stop the violence, like, what these niggas soft? I don't want to hear that. But you know me, I put so much work in out there. Y'all know I couldn't have got soft. So now like Tut saying this, it's like, man, maybe we gotta listen. But you're gonna have someone that's still like mad because I'm pulling their homies away. I just ain't had the resources. I could have changed the whole streets of Newark if I had resources to pull all them off the corner. Like if I'm gonna come in, like, all y'all getting jobs tomorrow, come to my office. The corners would be empty. Right. But they know I ain't had that. You know what I'm saying? All I got is like a message, and then certain ones I can help who kind of want it. Right. You know what I mean? But it's still gonna be challenges when you're trying to change a culture of people who had stuff going on, and I'm coming home stopping.
What am I changing for?
Right. You know what I mean? Definitely.
So talk about you both of you have referenced being away, being in prison. So talk about what happened. You want to start in your life. How did you get there?
Well, mine's was simple. It was a poor mind frame. It was just a retaliatory mind state, and ultimately it was the same thing that birthed my change, right? My retraining the thinking, because I didn't. So it wasn't me. It wasn't me getting shot. It wasn't me having a child. It wasn't me going to jail, quote unquote, that made me like change my direction. It was the fact that I had my daughter, and once my brother got killed, right, and I sat down, I told my daughter, what happened, and her immediate response, as we was crying, her first response was, "We gonna shoot them back."
How old was she?
She was about like 7 or 8 years old at the time, right? And in that moment right there, that changed my life, because I realized I wasn't raising my daughter to be a young lady. I was raising her to gangbang. And I just wanted to offer her something different. From that day along, I just become extremely conscious of the person that I showed her. So this was this was in 2014. 2014.
How long were you away?
This was happening. So I was away before that. I was away in 2010. So I was only away for 24 months. Not only because I felt every day, right? That you know what I mean. But but the crazy thing is psychologically in our culture, right?
You ain't doing 5 and better than you
24 months.
One day,
see what I'm saying?
One day.
But we don't glorify that part of it enough. You know what I mean? Oh, that's a scared bill. You did a 5 with a 3, or you did
lucky.
You see what I'm saying? And I consider that, right? Because
listen, when I would go to them little, and see, I'm saying them
Right.
little
Right.
arrests when we do a civil disobedience. Like
Right.
a lot of people, some people they just pop in and out and they think it's cool, but I literally have claustrophobia, so
right.
it's not a joke for me. Like I'm
Exactly.
making a serious sacrifice
for real.
when you stick me in a paddy wagon with the
Right.
wall in
All
between where the space is this close and there's people packed in. I be
Right.
crying,
Right.
like it's really hard.
Right.
You know, they sometimes it'll be like women on this side, and I remember one time Yandy and I got arrested together. It was Yandy, somebody else was in the truck with us, might have been Portia.
right.
They was singing me through, like
Right.
I was crying and
Right.
hyperventilating. And in Louisville, it was hot. When I
Yeah,
say
it's
hot,
scorching.
no,
Yeah.
It was
hot,
like
hot,
200
hot. Like
degrees inside the paddy wagon, and it was the shit was on your knees.
Yeah.
and they had your shit locked up this way,
Yeah.
and beads of sweat was dripping into your eyeballs.
Yeah.
It was like
Torture.
it was the worst
and
shit
you
I
had to
ever
have,
felt.
and
we was in there for
they
like 4
strapped you,
hours.
and they strapped you down this way, and because of the fact that so many people were arrested.
Right.
Like 80 something,
Right.
87 of us. That meant that it's processing this van and this van and this van. So you waiting and waiting and waiting for them to pull off. That jam is no joke.
Right.
No joke. So I
And
can
and
imagine
we take
24
light of
months.
that. Yeah, we take too light of the situations and the circumstances that we in and the sacrifices that we make. And I think, and I think warped my mind, so to speak. It not just warped my mind, but it lit a fire underneath me to represent myself a certain type of way and not care about what anybody else thought about me. Because it was like you said, like once I had that knowledge of where I'm leading my people to, and I felt like I lost I lost close family members underneath my watch, how I feel, right? And there's nothing that I could do in the physical world to replace that. So I'm always conscious of, like where I'm taking my people to, because we don't get our friends back, we don't get our family members back, and especially when we have people who follow in our lead. And it's just something that, like I said, it just lit a fire underneath me, and I walk inside my purpose confidently every day. And that's why everybody refers to my name, 8 the Great, right? That was just me calling myself great. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody named me 8 the Great but myself. That was just me that was just me speaking confidence into myself, because I had people shooting me down for so long, you know what I'm saying? I underplayed my own hand. And, so, yeah, I'm
When you say
that,
shooting you down, what does that sound like?
Right.
Negativity.
Right. It was all negativity, impossible, right? Because I live on the edge of impossibles, right? Like us doing New Direction was impossible 5 years ago to people who we tell our visions to. Us sitting down with y'all right now was impossible, right? Like I remember, during COVID, and particularly watching everything that y'all was doing and being introduced to Tamika D. Mallory. I was always aware of Mysonne because you was integrated in the hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying? I watched your freestyles. I seen what you did. I seen you on Traded Truth. I seen, you know what I'm saying? So it's even big for just, for whenever my mother see me amongst y'all. You know what I mean? She always light up whenever she see me amongst y'all, because we get to determine who our heroes are. You know what I'm saying? We get to determine, who we look up to and who we follow. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we do for the youth and our community, so to speak. Like, so that's why we walk amongst the people. That's why we always amongst our people, because don't title us. Don't put no label on us.
Right.
Don't
Limiting us.
Don't limit us, because we've been to those limits. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you to be 8th degree? You know what I'm saying? Who are you to say that you're going to do a podcast? Who are you to say that you're going to do New Direction and you could tell somebody to put a gun down and stop shooting? Like Tess say, I'm you. That's
you him.
Right. And
So
we
talk
walking
about
that.
your story.
Yeah, so I had went incarcerated. I got incarcerated for a police officer losing his life, trying to protect kids out of school, and which is will lead to a lot, us what we do with the Safe Passage now, which why we so passionate about that Safe Passage program that we running, because it came from a personal place. I know how it is when these kids be up here fighting at the schools, and then their parents get involved, and they coming up at the school, and it's just hood stuff.
Right.
And then stuff could go left, and that's kind of like what happened in my situation. And, my sister was fighting at a high school, and we got the call that she was up there fighting. And in the area that the school was in, that's like where my set was at. Like, we got that whole hood. So if I get a call that my sister down at school fighting, we going to get down there quick to make sure she good. Right. And we had went down there to make sure she was all right, but we ain't go down there like trying to get into it with no law enforcement or nothing like that. We just come down there, break it up, make sure she good, get her home. And we ran into a law enforcement officer who had kind of prior knowledge of who I be and us being out there, because I had just came home for something happened. Some rival gang members got shot. It was like a block or 2 blocks away from the school, and there was a police officer out there at the time doing beat walking, and they kind of charged me. They charged me with the case, and they were saying I sent guys through there to do it, and the officer got shot. So they had locked my mother and father up before they could get to me, because I was still out in the streets moving around. So when my mother called me and the police department saying that they had her, that joint just did something to me. That just made me like hate police officers. But I didn't take accountability that, it's all love and fair and war. If they, your family, all that on the line when you out here doing that. But, that was a shocking blow when they touched my mom and them, and she called me all straight. My mom worked for diapers, good lady, she ain't in nothing. But, my actions in the streets had brought that to my family. And, when they finally had caught me, and I had, and I was in the county and stuff, I was always thinking about that stuff. Like, it just made me hate the police. Because I didn't take accountability of why they did that. So when I had got out, I was just on that with them, the police. I just but I was talking about it around people. I wasn't like trying to do nothing to no cop, but it's life and death and the power of the tongue. They say that in the Bible. So I was speaking a situation like that into existence when I was around my homies. Every time we in the car ride and we just talking, like, fuck the police every time I see them. Because I just was feeling some type of way about what they did with my mother and father. And I'm like, I'm going to lock my mother, father, and I just go off on the homies. Like, man, they lock it up for y'all because I'm out doing this for y'all. You know what I mean? And my mother, so don't can't play with this shit. So I'm using that situation to further them to be, further goons for me against them. And they ain't even like that. You know what I mean? I spoke that thing up, man, and the police officer tried to get me. And they overprotected me, and guys moved out for me. You know what I mean? And I didn't actually have nothing on me. I didn't, shoot the officer nothing, but I had people with me that was overprotecting me because I was putting that in them. You know what I mean? So when they moved out, I wasn't even mad because I preached that to them, and I encouraged that. But they knew it. They knew the whole situation, everything. But if they would have charged it the right way, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to y'all right now. But they try to put it on me as if I was the one-out crazy guy with a gun and shot an officer, lying to the family, lying to the public. Like I was the one that really did it. Yeah, I was the engine behind it, but I wasn't the one that actually did it. And that's how I got convicted of reckless manslaughter, because the jury saw through the facts of the case when it came out. And that's why they charged me with causing it by me being reckless with my actions, but not guilty of the murder weapon and not guilty of shooting, police officers. And that's how I was able to, get the 15 years and come home. Because a lot of people are like, I didn't shoot, I didn't kill no police officer. I wasn't be standing. You know how they take that. Right. You know what I mean? So, me being able to, overcome that. But I took accountability for my actions, and, law enforcement was the enemy. That was the enemy to me. You know what I mean? When I was living a legal lifestyle, they wasn't our friends. They trying to capture us. We trying to get away from them. So my mindset against them was what it was. But it led to something like that happen, and I didn't realize I had the power and influence to allow something like that to happen under my, call until it happened. You know what I mean? Then I knew, like, I got to be careful with my power and influence and what I say out of my mouth. Right. Since that situation, I've been careful with what I say out of my mouth, my influence. I understood it, you know what I mean? But I had to go through that to really get to where we at now. But if that wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't be here with New Direction. We wouldn't be here overprotecting these schools, making sure these kids are safe. And, you know what I mean? It was something, like, God allows certain things to happen for whatever reason He allowed them to happen for. But, I just try to make the best of it and the great of it, because I know that situation harms our city. To this day, we still have, issues with people, it divided city, especially when it comes to law enforcement. You know what I mean? They ain't never going to understand me. Some of them did, the younger ones that respect the revolution and understand what's going on, but the older ones ain't gonna really understand that. And some people in politics ain't gonna want to be next to me. They ain't gonna want to stand next to me. You know what I mean? Because everybody got to keep a good relationship out here. The relationships is everything. We understand, and what us doing, we doing. It ain't beneficial to law enforcement that we stopping people from going to jail and surviving out here and not dying. My mother walked to the store safe. We thought that was beneficial for law enforcement, but we know it's different things that goes on, with money and people getting taken care of. So we understand, the politics of that. But that be hurting me sometimes, too, when I'm coming with clean hands and pure hearts and forget apologizing just for any actions that I did to make that happen, but showing by my actions. Like, I can go in front of the judge, say, Judge, I'm sorry. What I'm going to apologize to him for? What I'm going to say, have mercy on the judge for? He ain't getting hurt. He ain't doing it. He good. I got to go apologize to my community. And that's by my actions, by making sure that no another officer gets shot out here, no kids fighting at the school, nobody else ain't no gang wars in our city. I'm giving way back more than I kind of took away. Because this what we building is going to live beyond us. Right. This is going to be a legacy beyond us. We about to open the school to change up with 8th grade for our at-risk youth who don't nobody want to rock with because they scared of these little young guys. And when the young guys see you scared of them, they're going to run laps around you. Right. You know what I mean? But we ain't afraid of them. And we ain't afraid to die for what we believe in because we already died and came back, so to speak. We done faced all our fears. So, we just going to continue to push forward. And just hopefully that, the right people. Us sitting next to y'all, we already made it. You know what I mean? We got Tamika and Mallory right here in Mysonne.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? When our homies see this, our bros behind the wall and all that, like, come on, you don't know what that do for the culture. Right. But everybody ain't going to understand us, but we understand us. You know what I mean?
It was something that you said the other day at Keene College, and you said something about my future. What would you say? Something about my past. What did you say? I don't know the exact word you said, but it was a strong statement that you said.
And it was like similar to what I kind of spoke on. It's like
my future looks bright, because of something. I don't know what it was, but I just want to say that we commend you.
Yeah,
because the work that you're doing, and like you said, it's action. It's showing.
Exactly.
Because I'm telling you, watching y'all is just it reinforces. It gives me energy because a lot of times we get tired. Like it's hard, and you go through this, and you got people that want to hate on you, and people like you ain't really into this.
Exactly.
You ain't, and what I always say is my actions speak louder than what you're saying. You can say whatever you want, but for the last decade, I've been showing you what it is that I do, and I put the work in. I watch y'all do the same thing every day. So I want you to just give me, like I said before, what is like some of the hardest things that you got to deal with right now?
Yeah, for me, man, for you too, because we looked up to you, bro, and we still do to this day. Even that we next to you, we still do because you always inspired. Even when I came home and I'm tapping more in with your stuff, because I got to see more of your stuff when I got home. Because, we got phones now. We got more access to things. So, you was inspiring me. I'm looking up to you like, damn, big bro, Mysonne, and then your consciousness. And you already was like there. So I felt confident with being there too. And then a lot of bros was like, yo, you like the Mysonne our generation. Like a lot of my bros was saying that to me.
Yeah, because he old.
Right. I'm not like that. So, that was strong. But the challenge be for me is like egos with the other bros and stuff out here. Like, you know what I mean? Because like, there's a lot of different big homies that's out here that got, stain and got influence. And, if I'm coming out here trying to push guys forward, they don't want to feel like they following my lead. Like, oh, I took saying peace, y'all saying peace, because nobody was saying peace before I came home and pushing it. Right. But with me, I always try to explain them. I'm just trying to inspire other leaders to be better leaders. I'm not trying to, like, take over and be like, hey, everybody got to listen to me or this go on, you know what I mean? Because I had those challenges at first with certain little bros I'm hearing. They say, man, F New Direction, I ain't all that. And then I got to pull up on them like, what you mean, F New Direction? And I had to get out of that because I can't fight against everybody that's saying, like, they might not be off of it. You know what I mean? If a dude can't tell me that to my face, when I come around, it's all love. It's big, bro, we love what y'all doing. But if you say something behind my back, I can't really be trying to approach that. But I'm that type of person. Like, if you gonna say something, I'm pulling up on you on your hood. I don't care where you from, what niggas you around. You got to expose fake stuff. And when people just try to go against something that makes sense for us, that's the only challenges we be having because it's not for a personal reason. Right. It's like, it's just God just be hating because of power. You know what I mean? So we came and took the streets with New Direction. They didn't think we was gonna be able to do that, like challenge the culture. And some of the bros, you know what I mean, can be hating on that. And I don't want them to influence no younger bro to think they could challenge us. And then we get back to the old direction, our whole movement over. You know what I mean? So that be the challenges that we get is trying to stay humble, righteous, and militant. And that's challenging in of itself. Dealing with these that's the challenge for us, bro. You know what I mean? But we've been doing a good job with it, man, and we're gonna keep going.
So yeah, you was telling me a story about a situation that had happened with a young kid.
Cause my grandmother, she don't want me doing this work. Like family member, get away, you did enough for Newark, come out here. But
same thing.
Right.
Same thing.
So we deal with we don't deal with the polished kids. We deal with the at-risk, high-risk youth. So these the guys that get kicked out of school for having guns, in stolen cars, come out the youth house. They the ones that's wild. So we trying to get with a lot of these kids, get them focused, get them back on the right track. And some of them don't be, you know what I mean, they ain't all that clean. Right. So we had a bunch of group of kids around. We're going to do more of making sure we searching our kids. Because we ain't want to move by our kids like we don't know police stuff with them. Because we going to lose them like that. So sometimes we got to be a little cool with them. You know what I mean? We ain't really on them. I'm not thinking you got nothing in your book bag. But I know we going into a center or any place where I'm traveling with these kids, I'm making sure y'all ain't bringing nothing in here because they got metal detectors, they got stuff going on. Because these kids, they got like PTSD, I think. I mean, some of them.
They do.
From seeing some of their fathers die out here, some of their uncles, the violence in Newark, it affects some of the kids too.
No, it's for real. We
real.
know people. We know people that can't go anywhere.
Exactly.
Unless they got a gun.
gun.
We going to the fanciest restaurant and they still talking about I can't go because I can't bring my shit. Like for real?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we dealing with. So we go to a basketball game. So we go to basketball game. Now mind you, I'm telling these guys, so we got a van full of kids. We got the truck. So we all our kids packed in because we had to take them from getting some jobs.
30 kids.
Yeah, so we take them from getting some jobs, give them some job training at the re-engagement center, and then it was a Shabazz basketball game. So we took them down to the Shabazz. So we don't know what these kids got on because when they coming in, they putting whatever they got up. So one of them said something got missing from him out of one of the vans from another kid. So what you had? I think like a phone or something. He said a gun. So I'm like, fuck, you got a gun for it? We on. All right, so which one? Tonight we trying to count our kids. We found the kid who was missing. So I'm calling, like, yo, where you at, bro? He like, and he ain't answering though. I'm calling him, he ain't answering. I'm texting him. Then he like, yo, you ain't got nothing to do with this big bro. Fuck them niggas, they trying to rob me. They told some girl they was gonna rob me. What the fuck you talking about? Who? So he bugging all out. So he tripping all out. So he walking now. He left us. He on return in the hood with a gun on him, probably his first gun, and he going through a mental episode. Wow. So I call his mom. She tell me, you know what I mean, like, yo, she got a tracker on his phone. So now we tracking little bro. So now I don't want to run up on little bro and he just upping on us on some wild. But this little bro, I've been dealing with him. But it's my first time having him around a bunch of other kids. Now he got issues being around people. He don't trust everybody. You got to let me know that because this thing almost cost us just now, bro. So when we pulls up on him, we find out where he at. I rolled the window down like, yo, come here, bro. Let me hide. You got to give me that shit back you got. He whipped it out. Like, yo, back up. And ran. So now everybody in the car, we got 8 daughters in there. We got the kids behind us, 3 vans deep on him. So I'm like, we can't let him get away with this joint, bro, because I know this little nigga. So I'm mad. But now we can't try to put this kid down. If the police see him running around the hood like this, because he got it out, that's how he moving. They gonna put him down. They ain't gonna have no patience with him. So when I pulls around the corner, he's hiding somewhere. So we got the car looking for him in the backyard. So now I don't want him to just up it on us, thinking but I'm like, yo, what you doing, Brody? You know what I mean, little bro. So he like,
real danger.
Real danger. So I don't know if he gonna pull up at the cut and just start throwing at us or nothing. But I heard something move. We didn't know that was him. And then we left out the back. And then we got a call. His mother said he was by the liquor store. So we pull up by the liquor store. He sees it. He runs out. Now he pulls the car. He pulled it up at the first car to pull up on. So now I'm telling him, but don't pull up on him because he wilding. Because every time a car pull up on him, he lifting it. And I know he don't know what he doing. This is his first gun. I know this little bro. This is your first gun. He just feeling himself with it right now. So I get out the car, and I'm like, I'm gonna get out the car and talk to him. I'm like, yo, bro, you gonna shoot me? He like, nah, big uncle, this don't got nothing to do with you. Them niggas know what they did. I'm saying, ain't nobody with me but me, bro. So he walking down the street with it out, talking, and I'm just praying that the old cop car just bend the corner and see this little kid walking down the street with a gun out. Like it's just.
He had it out.
He had it out, like walking with it. So I can't get up on him to get it from him. He like, tell you, don't come up on me, bro. Like you gonna blow it. I'm saying, you gonna blow me, bro. He like, nah, it ain't got nothing to do with you. So once I knew he wasn't his mindset to blow me, I'm gonna stay with him. And keep walking with him, calming him down. So I said, put it up, bro, because I don't want the police to bend the corner and see you with that joint out like that. So he listened to put it up for a minute. Then I was trying to get a little closer on why he got it up so I could get it from him while he got it up. So when I got close to him, he like, no, bro, don't come up on me, bro, and pull it back out. So I'm like, now he skitsing out. Like, he like, so you gonna shoot me, bro, if I come up on you? So I'm like, your mother on her way, because I already got his mother on the phone. She screaming. So I'm like, yo, you gonna mess around and let the police bend this corner and we're not gonna be able to save you, bro. So when I said that again, he put it back up. So when he pulled it back up, I was a little more closer to him, and I knew he wasn't gonna pull it back out. And I just rushed him right quick. And when I grabbed that, I went straight for that because I seen where he put it at both times. He put it up, and he tried to reach for it, and I just pushed it, wrestled it from him, gave it to the bro, and then I just threw it down like the little bros, bang him up, beat him up for the doing that shit. We ain't doing him too bad, but you know that situation, we could have died in that situation because if he would have panicked, shot the car to hit 8 daughter, hit my little niece and them. We got Liam, we got everybody here. We come from a gang. All these kids with these mothers entrusted these kids with us, and one of these badass kids did something like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? To put all us in danger.
Right.
See, the reality is that's what high risk intervention is.
Right.
You know, and you can't really pay nobody for that.
Right.
Right. You have to really have love for your community, have love for these kids, and really want to save them to put yourself on the front lines like that. And I understand what that is. I've literally stood in front of dudes with guns. I literally had to stand in front and be like, yo, I'm not letting you shoot nobody. I'm not letting you, like, with people that I love. It's like, yo, get out my way. And I'm like, nah, we not doing that. You're not doing that. I'm like, you gonna have to shoot me.
Exactly.
Like, I literally had to say that. So I understand that. So a lot of people don't understand how serious this work is, and you don't understand how much respect that you have to have,
To be able to get that
and
off.
to be able to do that. Like they say, gangster, yo, you gang. It ain't gangster because you can shoot somebody. When you real gangster, you got enough respect in your community that you can stop somebody from getting killed.
Exactly.
That's what
right.
that's what leadership is. That's what the big homies is. For me, if you call yourself a big homie and you ain't showing to do how to grow, how to get no money, and how to survive, you just an older little nigga. That's what we said. You know what I'm saying?
And even with some of the stuff that we do, we get mothers that call us that be finding guns and stuff in their kids' room. They can't call the police because they don't want to send their kid to jail.
Right.
So what they got to call somebody who could come in here and get these stuff up out of their stuff. And that's what we do. We're coming in, make sure we get that stuff up out of it, and then get it to the proper people we have to make sure we keeping everybody safe. But that's the type of stuff that we be having to get calls on.
What would you say are the hardest parts of the job?
I mean, for me, what I believe for all of us is the hardest part is our sanity. Taking care of our own mental health inside of this space, because we know that we in a time where you can't fight hate with hate, right? You can only combat hate with love, right? But that thing got to get replenished. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, the hate gets so thick at times where I have to learn and train myself to be prepared for, the worst situations possible.
Every day.
Every single day, right? Like, and then I have teenage daughters inside of my city that go to the school. You know what I'm saying? I didn't choose to take my kids out of the city, right? Like my kids go to these same schools. They have these same basketball games. They walk in these same streets because
they want to go out.
They want to go outside
and have a good time.
Right.
And you like, why don't you just stay in the
But-
house?
And I understand that they don't want to stay in the house. So my job is to be able to make sure the outside is safe, because having the prettiest house on the block means nothing if the rest of the block is messed up. The property value ain't going to go up because of one house. All the houses got to be up to par. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I always, that's what I always think of it like. And, like, how do I walk to a mediation and not personalize? Somebody might want to kill SMD. You know what I'm saying? F out of here, I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? Or have it go. Or even how we just talked about with that situation. My daughter was in that car. My firstborn child was in that car. You know what I'm saying? How do I respond? How do I respond to that going off and, God forbid, hitting my child? You know what I'm saying? How do I respond if that thing go off and it hits somebody in here and I have to go to their parent? So I always operate from that mindset, because I'm always wary of people playing us against each other, because that's what they always done. You know what I'm saying? We always had the Bill O'Neills, right? Like we always had the Judases amongst us, right? And how do we stay focused? Like, how do we keep everything tight, like through communication, having clarity? If I'm not feeling something, I got to be able to go to my brother and tell him I'm not feeling it. Because if I don't, then I'll sit there and I'll let it fester. It'll damage our relationship.
That's the reason why the relationship between the four of us, Angelo, my son, Linda, and me, why our relationship is what it is. Because it's difficult at times, like to get it out, what we feel and what we're experiencing. It's not always pretty.
No.
We be at it, especially this right here. We and Angelo too. Angelo, I literally walk away from conversations crying. From talking to the two of them, because they don't be making no sense to me whatsoever. But I always walk away better than I was before we started the conversation. Even if I still don't agree, something in what we discuss makes all of us better.
That's
But that's hard work.
Right.
That is very difficult work. And I would imagine that the work that we do to lead together has spilled over into our other relationships and
Right.
how we, operate on
Yeah.
the daily. I know certainly even with my son, like I'm just thinking about you said the SMD and all of that with these kids or people will say
People
to
in
you,
general, right?
I've watched him grow. I've watched you grow a lot because he used to be ready to fight, and I would be
Right.
like, "But you know that you can't be the
That's right.
thing." What my old
That's
boss
right.
used to tell me, you can't be big and little at the same
That's
time.
right.
Right, right.
You gotta choose one, right?
right.
So you can't do this and that, you
Right,
know.
right,
and he
right.
would be ready to fight, and
Right.
I'm like, "But this is not really how it's supposed to go." And I've done it too. But I would say that, and we still will get into a fight.
Right.
Let's just be clear
That's
so
right.
that nobody is
Right.
confused.
Right.
If you roll on us the wrong way, we gonna fight you.
Right.
We not finna
Yeah, we
let
gonna
people
protect
just
us.
try to
It's
But-
self-preservation.
Right.
But we
see,
not
even-
we no
even-
longer letting you talk us into a fight.
right,
It's
right,
gotta
right.
be
So
something for real.
Even in
Right.
that part, right? Like how you just made clarity of that. I don't even want to make clarity of that. I don't even want you take it how you want.
right?
That's it. My job is to put it to the universe. My job isn't to put, like you said, I can't be big and little. I can't give the message and worry about how you receiving it either. My job is only to give the message. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to take it, man, F that nigga 8, man. Hey, how I do this? Then okay.
Wow.
All right, however you see. Or, man, I won't need step over. Either way, it don't deter me from my next move. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care to clear nothing up no more. But, right? But I have to be in that space because I understand the power is in the tongue as well, like Tut said. The power is in my own mental. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even have to say it out loud. If I'm thinking about it too much, I'm gonna manifest it. I'm gonna find it. And then I'm gonna respond to how, this the moment right here. Look, you know what I mean? Look, he trying to play, and that's why I believe everything is mental. Everything, all this high risk intervention, everything that we do is 90% mental. It's 90% mental. And once I learned how to master my own mind, I leave the rest for it to lay where it lay. And I'm gonna just conclude that with saying that, that's the biggest thing that I preach to, not just the youth, but to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Don't give nobody that type of power over you.
Yeah, man.
Because you giving
It's
people
rough.
way too much power over
Yeah.
you. Hell yeah, it's rough.
It's rough.
Because if it wasn't rough, then everybody would. You won't have no
Absolutely.
problems out
Absolutely.
there. Everybody
Absolutely.
be in their own world.
Absolutely.
So I don't feed into the comments. I don't feed in whether it's negative or positive. I appreciate both of the interactions. I don't care what it is that you're saying about me, positive or negative. I appreciate it because that means you're paying me attention, and it's my job to give you something to pay attention to.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
we can
Before we go though, I want y'all to talk about the women
Right.
of New Direction because
Right.
they have a major role that they play
Absolutely.
working with you all. What's your like how great is the need to have
Right.
the sisters alongside you?
Right. I guess I'll jump in there first, but for me, it's extremely great for the women, but it's extremely difficult because everybody don't understand your vision, right? Like it's a lot of sacrifices that go into just having a relationship, whether it's with a partner or with just our kids. Because I often have to tap in with my kids just as much because I do a lot for the other kids out in the community.
Wow, that's
Right.
deep. And I wasn't even you on a whole different thing.
Right.
Which I want to hear about. I was speaking specifically about staff members and people who are working in the organization and what that's like.
Right.
But that's very powerful having to, because I've done that. I
Right.
lost my relationship with my son for a long time because I became mommy street person instead of mommy home person.
Right.
So so keep going.
Right. Well, yeah, I apologize
No,
for
keep going.
misinterpreting.
Keep going. You can talk
No,
about
it's
both.
amazing.
Right.
I mean,
But that's a real space, right? And for me, I grew up inside of a household. I grew up in a 2-parent household, right? And so did my mother, and so did my father, right? So I came up with a full family, and then fast forward into today, where I have multiple different kids, right? I got 5 kids, right? So, but I got 3 different baby mothers. So I never learned how to have kids. I never experienced raising kids from outside of a household. So that was already a strain on it from the beginning. Because I have kids that see me, that get to see me every day. Then I still have 3 more kids that have to see me twice a week, once a week sometimes every so often, every time, you know what I mean? So that is strenuous on me, myself, and that's something that I have to live and die with, because that's something that life can't prepare you for, you know, and I just want to take this time out to shout out our brother Trey the Truth, right, who going through what he going through, and I want to, you know what I mean, because that's a serious situation. And, you know, he touched on, like, you know, very rarely do a mother go a week without seeing or
speaking to
their child, right? But we don't never get to talk about how strenuous that is for a father as well. Like, we feel that. You know what I'm saying? That's a real space. And it get downplayed a lot inside our community and our culture, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, as a father, I feel that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, you know, I also pray for my brother Trey the Truth to, you know what I mean, get his daughter back, and also, you know what I mean, be able to make peace, you know what I mean, with his you know, his baby mother or whatever, because they are not our ops.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? No matter what journey it is or how much we disagree with each other, our other parent can never be our op, because we got the same common goal, which is that child. You know what I'm saying? So I live with that every day. And, you know, just having my kids, you know, sometimes see me doing all this stuff out in the community, but I'm not there to take them, I don't know, to go ride their bike today. You know what I'm saying? Or they see me, you know, my oldest daughter is very active, right? She my biggest challenge. We talked about challenge. It was turning that corner with her, right? Because she was raised underneath, you know, the gangbanging age. And I didn't understand that. So her attitude was real messed up. Like, she get into fights a lot. She, you know, she real handsy. So, you know, last summer, last year around this time, she got jumped by some girls in school. And then, you know, it was instantly like, how do we move forward and make peace with that, right? Like, how do I be a father and get a phone call? I'm doing all this community work, and now my daughter get jumped. So now what? Do I go fight their father? Do I go... You know what I'm saying? I'm faced with this in real time.
What was your advice during this time? What did you say when he said his daughter got jumped?
We got to stay focused, man. Find out who got jumped, why she got jumped, was she wrong or anything. Sometimes we got to be like, hold our people accountable too, but definitely to, you know, not get to a point where, you know, we know how to handle stuff like that. We ain't got to be like going back to our old ways or something. But I definitely keep him focused, because that's just, you know what I mean, that's my niece too, that's his daughter. So we definitely trying to keep him focused. All right, now we gonna handle it, we gonna get on top of it. And he know, like, we know how to handle stuff like that.
That's human though.
Right,
it is.
right.
That's very human. Like, he gotta tell you, remind you.
Goddamn right. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Because we learn from each other,
Yes.
right? And we'd be fools to repeat history on a negative aspect, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm gonna just conclude that with that though, man. Like, you know, we you know, what makes this dynamic work is because, you know, like how you talked about it's 4 of y'all, right? Our advantage is just that it's 2 of us, right? And it's a shared vision. So it's easier for us to have disagreements with each other, because we know we both operate from a place of love. So even when we don't disagree, we just bro, whoever plan make the most sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's never, and it's never, we do more than enough work for us to get stuck on one thing. You know what I'm saying? We do more than that. So even if we don't agree on what time we doing safe passage, we still agree on, you know what I mean, yo, we gotta get these kids together this Wednesday and go feed them, right? So we got more than enough things to keep us busy. You know what I mean?
It's
so you'll never
more
see
in
us.
common than y'all disagree with. Way more.
Way more.
That's the
what's
benefit.
up.
Way more. So
And
it's
you,
benefit.
I was gonna ask about your staff members, the people who
Right.
work with
Yeah,
you,
you
so
can
you
answer
can
that.
talk about that.
Yeah, so it was good having the females with us, because, you know, when we was going to these schools, most of the issues we was having was like girls fighting. Like, I was all girls fighting. It wasn't really the guys, you know what I mean? Like, doing the fighting in school, mostly the girls. So we just try to inspire some of the females that was working with us to start tapping in with the younger girls and, doing the same thing we doing with the younger guys so we can get them all together. And then once we got the young girls and the young guys together, we could teach them together how to be mature adults, respecting each other, because a lot of that was going on with these little guys talking to the girls a certain way, calling them out their names, and the girls trying to fight them and smacking them in their face. And just they trying to be like YN, they call them young niggas. I don't like to use the word too much. We try to get away from it. But a lot of our young girls is doing that, so we want to try to get them all together and have us all doing the work together, working on our issues amongst each other and seeing that we can grow and feed off each other. And, women is strong in certain stuff that we not strong in.
Right.
When it's doing some of these outreach work, we go into some hoods, we got the girls with us, that's going to break the guys down a little bit because they see the girls with us, so they look, we ain't coming in here trying to harm nobody, but we got the girls and had them doing more leading and it's showing how important they are to us and showing how important they are to us as a whole, and want to show the little bros that too, because we wasn't having young girls part of our meetings. We were just doing like men's meetings with the little bros, and then we seen that the bros put on for the girls.
Right.
So they want to show off for them. All the little bros want to show off for other little girls. So we get all the little girls y'all trying to show off for, and then show you what they really like and what we all really should be on and what we should be on. And that's that helped us we change the dynamics of the movement, and having the females working with us, they more reliable than men. They gonna be they more courageous than some men.
Right.
You know what I mean? They more knowledgeable than men.
Right.
So us having to tapping in with them and trying to make sure that we preserve them so they could be good. Because without them, there's no us. But they doing a good job of tapping in. They get to know some of the other girls, because it ain't us talking to some little girls about fighting, but we got other strong women telling them, like, yo, little queen, what you be doing? You supposed to be getting your hair done, and they know how to tap on with them. We can tap them with the little bro, but they could tap on with the girls. Then we get them all together. Then we could be able to, tap in with them all. So having the young girls with us, that made us stronger, man.
Heck yeah.
Appreciate our baby girls, man. We gonna keep them focused.
Yeah.
Well, the work y'all doing is just amazing, and it's authentic. Make sure y'all follow New Direction. Make sure you follow 8th Grade. Make sure you follow Tut. These brothers are living. They not just talking about it. Every day, I get up sometimes and I be like, I'm lazy, and then I look in their page. I was like, okay, it's time for me to get busy. My young bros is out there putting work in. So I just want to commend y'all. Continue on the path that you're going. I already see that you're not going to be swayed. Ain't nobody going to stop you from doing it because it's in your heart, man. So we appreciate y'all, man.
Appreciate
y'all always welcome here. Y'all know that, man.
Definitely.
We got nothing but love for y'all.
Well, listen, this is the holiday time of the year when people like giving money, and you feel so sad that you haven't done anything to help your community in a long time. Give money to New Direction. Because although you all haven't said that raising money is hard, it's hard as hell to sustain when, if somebody gets shot, unfortunately, everybody want to give. But the whole job is to not have someone getting shot. And so then when it's quiet, that's when you really need the support, not when it's quiet. It's the same thing with us. When someone's killed by the police, everybody want to call us. How can we help you? We see y'all out there. But most of the time, our work is in preventative measures, right? Like trying to keep to keep the peace within our communities, working with groups like yours, trying to find ways to take money that has come to us and re-granting it to other people so they can do work. And that takes a lot. And we need support that is consistent. We need people that are smart to help us think and help us strategize and open up resources and bring us into spaces that we don't generally have entree into. So make sure that you take the information and donate. Give. It's $5. We appreciate $5, $10,
I hate the word
$50.
invest.
That's right. That's right. Invest in the work. So I'm excited, and I'm so happy to hear you talk about togetherness. That one of the reasons why Linda and I made a final decision that we were going to leave the Women's March was because we knew, one, they was trying to drive us crazy, but also we knew we could not build what we see for black and brown folks
Right.
without having men and women together
That's
at
right.
the table.
Right.
That's right.
It just doesn't work.
That's
you know,
right.
and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be spaces for men.
Right.
There should be spaces for women, but we had to have a table that allowed for all of us to sit around and be together, because the issues that we face, it's intersectional.
Right.
It's
Right,
both
right.
at the same time.
Exactly.
And if you let the internet
Right.
dictate what's happening in our communities, there's this big divide.
Yeah.
It's always important to be reminded
That's right.
that our brothers love us as
right.
women, and that we love our brothers, and to still be in space. So I'm proud of the two of you. I'm kind of like
thank
the
you.
elder statesman over here on this show, not in years,
Right,
to
right,
your
that's
point,
right.
but in the time that I've spent in this movement, over
right.
30 years,
That's
I've
right.
been doing this, and I know when I see talent, dedication, and authenticity, and I'm just so proud of the work that y'all are doing.
Definitely,
Thank
man.
you for
It's a
being
blessing
here.
to
Appreciate
get your
y'all,
endorsement,
man.
man.
Thank
Blessing,
you.
man.
That's
That's
right.
Tamika Mallory, right?
New direction.
yeah.
Ain't the great. Tut, we love y'all,
I
man.
love
Keep it
y'all
up.
y'all,
more,
man.
man.
Thank
Definitely,
y'all.
man. We keep pushing.
I'm so inspired by Tut and 8, man.
I was gonna cry.
Those, like, since we first, usually when you meet people, when you have that connection, when you got a vibe, and immediately when I met both of them, it was just like kindred spirits. It's like you have the same spirit, and it was just like they were my little brothers, man. And just watching them grow into this work, I've known them for about 2 years now, working in Newark, and just watching them constantly do this work and seeing them grow into this leadership role. Because when they first started, they just wanted to do the work, like Tut was explaining. He came home from prison, and he knew he wanted to do the work, but it was these complications. Then you got to figure out, how do you balance that, And I've been around people who want to do this work, but do not have the emotional intelligence to actually do this work, especially when you come from the gang lifestyle. And I've seen a lot of people resort back to that mentality. But, I'm watching them grow further and further away from it and still have the same respect and the same credibility and the same strength, that they have. So shout out to them brothers, man.
Yeah, no, I'm inspired. I felt like I got teary-eyed a few times, because both of them are very they are, I felt like they're very deep. Like the introspection is deep for them, like understanding where they came from and the struggle, and, as was said, revolution and all of that, and then what that should manifest itself into is how you support other people. It was powerful. I feel like 8 is wise beyond his years. He speaks slower, and he really is processing a lot as he's speaking. And then I could tell, like, they're yin and yang, because you could tell that Tut is like motivated. Gotta get everybody, keep it going. We gonna do this. We gonna push. And it's just great. It's great because we can't all be the same thing, right? You know what I mean? Like, on the days when you really need a strategist, I feel like we represent that. Some days we just need somebody that's just gonna think through slowly, and Angelo kind of is like that, right? Think through slowly what's next and what moves should we be making? Should we not do this or whatever? And then we have you, who's a motivator, always trying to be like, yes, we can do it. Let's go. So everybody has something different, and I see greatness in them, period.
Yeah, they're definitely destined for greatness. And it's just like the vision that I have for this work. I'm constantly meeting brothers who fit into that space. Like, this work should be celebrated and marketed and promoted as what it is. These are heroes.
Yeah, it's public health work. It's not
exactly. These are our superheroes. Like, and if you got these young boys to see these type of individuals, if that work is highlighted, if you put him and Trey and Zeke from New Direction, and just brothers all around the city.
Zeke
AT,
is from New Era.
New Era, my fault. New Era. And you put all of these brothers in the same room, and whenever it's something to be done, and we all moving together, and these young kids can see those type of men move in that manner and be celebrated and be able to survive in that manner. Like, that's how the world would shift if that's what we were celebrating. But that's my vision. That's what I want to bring.
You have to celebrate yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to celebrate yourself. We have to have more spaces where we're not waiting on some outside entity, because the one thing we didn't get a chance to talk about was Mayor Baraka, and I would imagine Mayor Baraka got to be tired. Like, he trying to celebrate, make sure you get resources, deal with the fact that you getting calls all the time. This is a problem. That's a problem. This person, that, it's a lot. So we have to find more opportunities to celebrate ourselves, to celebrate leaders like him that would provide space, because I'm sure there are people, especially with him now being a candidate for governor of New Jersey, I'm sure there are people who are telling him, you got to cut the ties with people like Tut. A police officer was involved and lost his life. You can't work with Tamika Mallory because her relationship with Minister Farrakhan. You can't, what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure people are giving him that type of advice. And I'm not talking about white folk. I'm talking about black folks who know our stories. They know everybody. They know Dr. Jamila T. Davis. They know everything because they in the room. They are seen to be a friend. So they are told and experienced and have the ability to hear about the weaknesses and the things that we all fight against and all of that every day. Those same people, to ingratiate themselves when they have an opportunity to give what's the strategy, it involves cutting everybody but them and anybody else who's seen to be safe. And it takes a lot of discernment as a leader to hear your people giving you advice that is often reinforced by the white folks, but can start with your own people, and to say, I know that this thing happened, but I see Tut's value. I see what he brings to the table, and actually I'm going to go ahead out on a limb, and I'm still going to work with my brother because I know what he's trying to do, and I know he's changed his life.
Because it's shown, because it's through actions. They say,
through action.
And we always say those closest to the solution are closest to the problem. And that's what we have to invest in. So, like you said, shout out to Mayor Baraka for seeing that vision and just the way that he has been a mayor in Newark. Right, is to find, the roses that grow from the concrete, right? Just to understand how important it is and how much, and it makes you, it inspires you, right? As somebody who he believes in, it makes you to make sure that I can't mess up because I can't disappoint him. Yeah. Because you know that he's willing to go to bat for you. Yeah. So it pushes you to that level. And I tell people all the time, when you show somebody that you believe in them, it inspires them and motivates them beyond even their own faults, even their own weakness. Absolutely. It makes them that much stronger. So, that ecosystem that they created in Newark with the OVPTR and the one
the
hood
Office of Violence Prevention, right? Because we say these
words that everybody knows.
These acronyms.
Shout out to Keisha Yuri. Shout out to Kalisha.
Synonyms.
Shout out to everybody over there that's doing the work.
Tanisha. There's a lot of people doing great work out in Newark.
Yes, they're doing a lot of great work.
A lot of love to them.
But that brings me to my I don't get it.
What don't you get today?
What I don't get today is how a man can set someone on fire on the public transportation in New York City and then sit there and watch the person burn. Like, you got to be deranged.
Is it the person that's deranged or the other people?
No, the person. The person literally, allegedly, set this lady on fire, allegedly, got off the train, and there's a bunch of videos, and when you look at the video, the person who allegedly set the person on fire was sitting on the bench just watching the person on fire. They didn't have
Did she die?
Yes.
God bless.
They didn't have any prior, according to allegedly, they didn't have any prior relationships. They didn't know the person. The person was literally on the train sleeping, and the man just went and set this lady ablaze. And the lady was standing up there. It was a very visual thing. And a lot of people are like, why do you put... I'm like, this is on every news site on the world. Like, I found it, and I couldn't believe it. At first, I put it up because I thought it was just maybe AI or somebody, and I was like, yo. But then when I started realizing that this was really actually something that happened, and then you just see even the police are just walking by, it didn't seem real. It seemed surreal. It seemed like there would have been a level of distraught, a level of confusion, a level of like emergency that I didn't see. There was no sense of urgency to help this woman, put this lady out. No water, there was no blanket, nobody was doing anything to stop this lady from being on fire. But
she didn't seem that
it just it seemed to me
she
that
was even standing there. Like when I saw a little clip of, I don't like watching videos, but I saw a little clip of it on somebody else's page. I think it was Brother Five. I saw a clip of it, and I'm like, okay, she's not like screaming, running. I didn't know what was happening.
That's why I was confused. But what I would think is,
She
at some
maybe
point, her
shock, or she just
the nervous system, maybe
more.
because it looked like from the top, it looked like it was completely burnt. Like it didn't even look like.
So she was already.
So it probably just when you see the step, it probably was just like a reflex. Because I don't think, I think the person had already passed, but the reflex of the body was probably still moving and motioning.
God bless her, man. That's terrible.
It was terrible, man. I just
But you have people out there that would say that's why Daniel Penny had to kill Jordan Neely, because he was a threat and he might have done something like that.
But that's the person. This is the person you're supposed to kill.
Don't say that.
No, but
I know, but don't say
what
that.
I'm trying to tell you, if you sit there and watch somebody set somebody on fire,
somebody actually did the act,
set somebody on fire, and then they got off the train and was able to sit in a chair and get on another train. Literally, the person got on another train and was apprehended on another train somewhere else.
So crazy.
Like the fact that nobody apprehended that person, but you thought Daniel Penny, that you thought Jordan Neely, Michael Jackson, who was frustrated, hungry, destroyed, yelling,
and that's it. But didn't approach anybody or touch anybody.
But you let him. That's another thing I don't get. Right? How was the threat? How was Jordan Neely the threat enough for you to choke him to death? But this man who set somebody on fire didn't even get touched. Not one person.
So you would have ran up to the man?
I would have done something. There's no way I was going to watch you set somebody on fire and then just sit there. There's no way. Not me.
No, you would have. You definitely
It's just no way. There's no way. Like,
I would have been screaming and trying to get something to throw, like taking my coat off.
The police
and
walked by the
to
man.
throw
Like it just was like there was no urgency. Nobody was like, yo, that's the person. Nobody wasn't waiting. Like, that's the person who did it. It was just nothing. It just was.
Maybe you just don't see it in the video.
It's not happening. The police walked by him. He was able to get on another train.
Was the lady still burning?
Yes.
At the time that, I didn't watch the video.
If you watch the video, the door is open, and the one that I have is a man taping. He's like, yo. R.I.P. to the lady, but this is on fire. This is really a person on fire. No, he said him. He said it was a man. But we found out later it was a lady. He said, he's on fire. And then you see the police walk by the door, open door with the person on fire, walk by. You see the person sitting on the bench. And then you see the person on fire take like a step. And that's when the person on the bench gets up. The police had already walked by him. This person's still sitting there. There's no sense of urgency. There's nobody around. Everybody just completely gone. And it's just like, this didn't seem like it was real. It didn't seem like it was an emergency situation. It didn't seem like nobody took this serious. And it's just like, I just don't understand, man. My condolences goes out to the family, and I don't know what the mind state you have to have some type of mental health to do that. I don't even understand what else it could be, for you to just set a stranger ablaze.
The mental health crisis of, this city in New York is very significant. It's very severe. And we won't be able to choke our way out of it, to kill our way out of it, to arrest our way out of it. We won't be able to solve it with rhetoric or with new laws. We will only be able to settle it if a new law is created that mandates very severe mental health support for people from school age all the way up to people who are working in this city. You have people who are going to jobs every day that are working high-level jobs. You got people, sometimes you in a train station, people start cursing, and they stay employees. In fact, I was going through security a couple of months ago and really got into it with the TSA agent who really thought we was in the street, like we was outside. Well, I don't know, but you ain't going to be able to wear. Okay, but sweetheart, I understand what you're saying. I'm just telling you that it always works. So if you saying that I need to take it off now, it's a certain way you need to speak to it. I don't got to speak to it. No, yes, you do. Because guess what? I am paying for you to stand here and do a job. And so there is a way that I would like to be talked to. I'm not a person that gives people problems and they in a point of authority to tell me you need to put this in the bin or you got to do. I'm not getting into no fight over that. But you're not gonna talk to me like me and you outside in the projects on one whatever street. Yeah. But what I'm telling you is that people be going through stuff. So whereas you would think that because we're in this environment and I could get into it with you back and forth and then keep going. You never know. She might have came flying through the thing, knocked me down, try to fight me, because people are going to corporate jobs. They're going to Broadway. They're going to hospitals, and they are the people. They are the worker, the doctor, the whatever, the corporate, the executive, having very serious mental health issues.
I would do the same thing in the airport. I had a receipt in my pocket. You know how you taking the stuff out and you put it in there? And I was going back through and there was a little receipt and I just put it on top of the thing. And she's like, don't just throw that there. I said, well, man, where should I put it? Well, I don't know where you should put it. Put it in the garbage. Would you just throw that in your house like that? I can imagine how you live. I said, man, where did all this come from? You don't know nothing about how I live. You know, and then she was a very big lady, and I was about to say, well, I can imagine how, and I didn't get into that.
I'm glad you didn't do
because
it.
I was like, well, why would you talk about how I live? You don't even know me. All this over a piece of paper. Well, I mean, I could just tell. And
but that's what I'm saying. Like people are going to, and then the problem is that what so happened if you would have responded to her in the same way that she was speaking to you, and then it would have turned into a thing. So, because trust me, like you, like her, like anybody, we all got stuff going on. So it's not just a one-sided thing. You might meet somebody on the other side who might snap. And that means that we have to be dealing with mental health from when our children are very, very small. The one thing I heard those brothers saying today, Tut and 8, is when this young man was with them and they took him out, right? And they telling the story. He does not he gets nervous around other people. Mm-hmm. God only knows the story of how he got there, but there's been no one to address it. Right? So so this day he could have created a mass crisis off of trauma that might have set in at 4 years old, 3 years old. We don't know. So with that being said, you know, and it might not be that. Maybe it's something that he went through outside at 12 that nobody knows about. I'm just saying all of this to say, until we take a serious look at how to deal with mental health, not to the point that you have to be in crisis to get support, but that you have tools for addressing the potential of a crisis. And that only comes from school age, from a child, very small, being given the tools to deal with pressure, to deal with the response to the world and all the crazy things that's constantly going on. You need tools, and we've not been presented with that.
We sure have not.
Yep.
No. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode. Shout out to our brothers 8 and Tut from New Direction. Make sure you follow those brothers. They're doing amazing work. Thank you to our followers. You always support us. Make sure you follow us on YouTube at TMI Show PC and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And to follow us on IG is TMI_show. Leave suggestions, any guests you want to hear. If you love us, you hate us, just let us know. We appreciate all the feedback, and we appreciate y'all for making us the #1 podcast in the world. Shout out to Tamika D. Mallory. She's not going to always be wrong. I'm not going to always be right. But we will both always, and I mean always, be authentic.
Peace.
Salute.
That's how we own it.